Hey guys, welcome back to AK FPL. Today we're going to be looking at Game Week 22 results and reviewing Game Week 23. So Game Week 22 is currently going on. I'm on 65 points with Son to play. Spurs and Chelsea are playing later on this evening, so I'm not really expecting too many points from Son, probably maybe 2 or 3 points at the most. If he gets anything more than that would be great. So before this game week, I had 5 green arrows in a row, which was really good. It almost brought me into the top 10k. But actually, this week was a bit disappointing. 65 points, but that was a red arrow, which took me down from 12k to 19k. And it wasn't that bad of a game week considering the average points in total was 50. But it's just the fact that everyone else around me did quite a bit better than me. So I think in this video, it's a good time to sort of reflect on what didn't go so well for me this week. And I think the major source of points dropped was the captaincy. So I went with Salah captain, which I think a lot of people did, and went with Fernandes as my vice. So automatically that's a 15-point difference purely just on the captaincy pick there. And I don't really blame myself for that decision too much because Salah was the better pick. He was going into this game on better form than Fernandes was. Fernandes actually hadn't really got too many points before the Southampton game. He only got 1 assist in the last 5 games. So I think it was a bit of an unlucky outcome in the end. If I had to make the decision again, I'd still probably go Salah over Fernandes. But I think the other decision which I got wrong was who I benched between Holding and Dean. I was debating over that decision for a long time, and in the end I went for Holding purely because I thought Arsenal were more likely to get a clean sheet than Dean was to get an attacking return. But I think in general it's better to play the more attacking defender when you're left with that kind of decision, because the fact that Dean can get attacking returns even though Everton are not as good defensively, and even though a defender can lose the clean sheet, if you've got someone that can get you an assist or a goal, it's almost always worth playing them over someone who's more likely just to get a clean sheet and nothing more. So that's a good learning point for me. So I think next time when I'm faced with a similar benching decision, I'll just go with a more attacking defender. But apart from Holding and Salah blank, actually everyone else in my team did fairly okay. Man City double clean sheet there, which was good. Gundogan getting an assist and bonus on top, which was really good. Grealish getting an assist, and Bamford and Antonio as well getting some assists as well. Martinez with 4 points, even though he conceded 3 goals, he still gets saves and he still got bonus on top of that, so that was really good. So it's not that I did too badly, it's more that everyone else around me just did a lot better. People had quite high scoring players who are highly owned. That's players like Justin and Calvert-Lewin, who both got really good scores, and obviously I don't have those players. So when you're going without players who are highly owned around you, whenever they get a haul, it just has a massive effect on your overall rank. So I checked Live FPL, which shows you what the effective ownership is of players and their impact on your rank, and actually it showed that for Leicester, so whoever had Leicester players around me, on average they were getting 8 points from those Leicester players, and because I've got no Leicester players, that's essentially 8 effective points against me from when they played Fulham, purely because Justin got a 15-pointer, Maddison got an assist, so all of that averages to around 6 to 8 points against me, and Calvert-Lewin getting 9 points as well. That was essentially 4 effective points against me. Souček, I thought I would get burnt by him again, but I think a lot of people benched Souček this week, so it didn't hurt me that much. But I think Leicester players in general, whoever has Leicester players around me, they've just got a massive differential against someone like me. So I need to look at that in a bit more detail going forward, potentially with my wild card. How can I limit the damage Leicester do against me? Because they're looking really good, and I think they've got a really good chance of finishing in the top 3 this season. So they've got some really good assets there, like Justin, Maddison and Harvey Barnes. So we're just going to look at the Game Week 23 preview now, and this is my current setup for Game Week 23. So at the moment, I've got 2 free transfers, and I'm trying to decide what's the best way to play these free transfers. So originally the plan was always to bring in Harry Kane when Spurs were playing West Brom, but it looks like Kane's still going to be out at the moment. So I'm looking at the fixtures and I'm thinking, who can I bring in this week? That will be a good transfer. And I'm actually tempted by a Chelsea defender because they've got a good set of 3 fixtures, starting with Sheffield. Then they've got Newcastle. And then they've got Southampton. So that's 3 really good fixtures for Chelsea there. And some of the defenders I'm looking at, particularly Alonso, who is just really attacking. And other players are like Azpilicueta and potentially even Rudiger. He's only 4.5 million. So really cheap entry into the back line. Chelsea at the moment are playing with a 3 at the back formation with wing backs. So really tighten things up at the back. So I think they could be really good for defensive returns over the next 3. But of course, we just need to wait for the Spurs-Chelsea game first to see who their first choice defenders are. Because I think the team against Spurs is probably going to be what Tuchel goes with over the next few games as well. And we've just had an announcement that there is going to be a double game week in Game Week 24. So Man City, Everton, Burnley and Fulham are going to have double game weeks going into Game Week 24. So my other transfer that I'm considering is actually bringing in a Burnley defender. So Burnley have Brighton in Game Week 23, then they've got Palace, and then they've got Fulham in Game Week 24, and then after that they've got West Brom. So 4 really, really good fixtures for Burnley. And I think if I'm going to invest in Burnley, it's definitely going to be one of their defenders or their goalkeeper, Nick Pope. So that's another potential transfer I'm looking at. So it's just worth keeping in mind that there are double game weeks coming up in Game Week 24 and also in Game Week 25. So Leeds and Southampton are doubling in Game Week 25. But that's potentially one of the game weeks where I might be playing my second wild card. So I'm not really looking too much ahead to Game Week 25. I'm just going to try and get Game Week 24 done first, with the view of playing a wild card in Game Week 25 to plan my team from then until the end of the season. So that's my plan at the moment. So if we focus on Game Week 23, what are the key fixtures for this game week? Well, I think if we look at it, there is Fulham versus West Ham. So West Ham looked really good against Villa, beat them fairly convincingly. And Antonio as well is looking very sharp, getting assists and getting goals, and he's potentially a good captaincy candidate there. For me, I look at Man U and they're just looking like a really good attacking threat. I mean, 9 goals against Southampton is just ridiculous. So I think the Man U Everton game is going to have a lot of goals in it. I don't think Everton are that good defensively, but they can score. So I'm anticipating at least 5 goals in that game. Potentially a 4-1 United or a 3-2 United. So that could be a good game to captain someone like Fernandes or Rashford if you've got him. And I think the other key fixture, not necessarily to get players in for, is Liverpool Man City. Like, we don't know how that game's going to go. I mean, both teams are obviously 2 of the best teams in the league. So that could either be a stalemate, a drab 0-0 or a 1-1, or it could be an absolute goal fest. So I'm probably too hesitant to captain someone like Mo Salah against Man City, even though I think he might get goals in that if it ends up being a goal fest. But I think with the likes of Bruno doing so well in the last game, it's hard to look past someone like Fernandes or Antonio. So that brings us on to the captaincy. Currently, I've got it on Fernandes with Antonio vice. For me, I just think Fernandes is the safer pick. Antonio, he's looking good as well, but I just think Fernandes he'll either get a goal or an assist in this game, whereas Antonio, I just don't trust him as much as Fernandes at the moment. A few people are actually considering captaining Son against West Brom, but so far from what I've seen of Spurs, without Kane, they just don't look like the same team. So I'm avoiding captaining Son at the moment. I think if Kane is back, then yes, that's a different question altogether. I think Son and Kane become viable captaincy options when they're both playing on the same team at the same time. So that's probably my plan going into Game Week 23. I've got the captaincy on Fernandes. I've got 2 free transfers. One of them is going to be to probably get a Burnley defender in or a Burnley keeper such as Nick Pope. And I might even use the second free transfer to get in a Chelsea defender like Alonso or Rudiger. So there you have it. That's my Game Week 23 plan. Let me know in the comments if you need any help with your team. Happy to give tips or suggestions. Like the video. Please comment. share and subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll see you all in the next game week.